and in their housing and being able to afford rent. We want them to be secure in their path of education and opportunity for employment. And so there was a lot of conversations around how multi-sector collaboration can occur and how we might move from maybe silos of industry into a more collective community response strategy.
Yes, today was Bexar County leading the way in order to develop public-private partnerships. Bexar County and local government is not going to be able to sustain this on any long term. So we're going to need our federal government, our state government, our local governments to lock in arms to deal with food insecurity. But we have many, many other issues, as I learned today, that connect to food insecurity. Housing insecurity, healthcare access insecurity, all come together for the wellness and the physical well-being of all our citizens. And today was the start of a conversation as how do we partner for the immediate term, for the intermediate term, and for the long term. How can we make sure that people aren't going hungry?
Yeah, those three areas of government at all levels, whether local, city, county, state, or federal, doing what they can, the nonprofit sector doing what we can, but the for-profit sector, businesses doing what they can. Ultimately, hunger isn't a food issue, it's an income issue. And the for-profit sector, by providing opportunities and economic growth and impact for our city, people need to make living wages that allow them to pay the rents, allow them to pay for food, allow them to pay for access for health care, transportation, child care, etc. Today was a big conversation to lay out some big goals to alleviate the suffering that many families are going through right in our community.
And this is just a start of conversation. We'll have more summits coming up in the next month or two, and we will then bring in the other stakeholders that have a vital interest to make sure that we provide food security for all of us in our community.
So you mentioned this about the government shutdown. Was this summit already kind of planned, or was it brought about because of what you all saw during the government shutdown?
This was planned before the government shutdown. So we immediately knew that food insecurity was at the end of the election on referendum A and B. Bexar County had a food drive in partnership with the food bank that was totally unplanned. But it was very timely in light of the shutdown of the government that we had nearly 500 families come in. And I was at the food line 7 a.m. in the morning following that election to hand out food. People were in tears as they received their food. So we know that we have a dire need in our community that we need to address.
So then can you talk again about how important it is to have county leadership or city leadership, you all working together to solve this issue rather than working separately?
Correct. It's all about collaboration. But first we needed to communicate. And then we've got to come up with an action plan, and that's the long-term goals of this summit, is to have an action plan so that everybody knows what everybody's doing. We found out there were a lot of lack of connectivity with the workforce programs, and that we have a lack of connectivity with higher education and the students that are going to be severely impacted. We got an economic report from our workforce development programs. People in here got a lot of knowledge, and knowledge is power.
I think a lot of the conversation today was about the triage that's happening with the change at the federal level. There is so much that is impacting our residents in different sectors. And so, obviously we're talking about those programs that put food on the table for Americans, but there's programs that allow for affordable housing. There's programs that provide for education. I mean, some of the changes to the Pell Grant, which I think the conversation today, was enlightening, because most people, I guess, don't realize that a lot of Pell Grant funds are used to pay for food or to pay for rent while a student might be gaining their education. And changes to that, how will we work together to fill the gaps that are created? How do we keep the gaps from happening? And I think, the efficiency, the data sharing. We've got a lot of work to do as community organizations, and we're doing some best-in-class programs, but I think just leveraging those to their most impactful level.
Let me just check something on my mic. I don't know if you want.
Yeah, I think I'm stepping on your signal. Turn this off. Go check your camera. You know what? I'm gonna make this easy.
Go hardwire.
I know, right? Hello, hello, hello.
Sometimes that's the easiest way.
Yeah, I was like, at least it's on and it's working now.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Can you all just count to 10 for me, please?
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Mic check.
Yeah.
Is that gonna be
Yeah,
okay?
that's fine.
Cool.
Okay.
Are you testing? 1, 2, 3. Mic check. Testing.
Okay.
1. Yeah.
Is it just in case, Judge, can I have you actually put it on? These are tricky sometimes.
All right. Next question. You guys okay? Sound?
Do you have any other questions?
I mean, you probably.
Okay.
You want to finish up and I'll ask?
Yeah. So obviously, it was a long conversation. There's a lot of steps to move forward. But what is the first step you all are going to take? Like, what's part A, I guess?
Well, we're going to capture all the information that we received from the high-level stakeholders meeting today on food security. Then we're going to compile that. We had a survey that we already put out, so we know what the high-level stakeholder discussion is going to be, but we want to get a narrower focus to make sure that we are on the right path of an action plan. But I think the basic strategy is connectivity, it's communication, and then coming up with an action plan. And another big issue, or another big information that Eric provided, was Feeding America, a national organization. Vince Hall, I believe, gave us a report of what it looks like at the federal level. And we just need to be prepared for the tremendous impact that these cuts are going to have in our community.
So we're, obviously, this is going to be like a rolling effect. Are you all preparing for that as well, for like the back end that's going to
Yes,
happen?
and we're going to have an action plan probably after 3-4 months in order so that everybody knows what they can do. We're trying to break down silos today. We're trying to improve the communication. We want to develop that connectivity so that when a person who is food insecure comes in, whatever nonprofit, food bank, or the hospital, or justice system at the courthouse, we can identify them and then get them the resources they need so that they can then become food secure.
Yeah, I mean, I think the county did an amazing job of convening stakeholders. The county has resources around public health, around housing, utility assistance, economic development, bringing their leadership and then sector leadership to have a discussion of the commonality of food, but it impacts so many areas of our lives, whether our health and well-being, our mental health, our ability to focus in a classroom, all of those variables. And I think there's a lot of work to be done. This is just the on-ramping of this journey. But I think we try to be very holistic and deliberate, getting feedback. I think we're identifying who's not at the table, who needs to be a part of this conversation. But I think the overall message is that no one person or organization can solve hunger, that can create a secure community. I think we need everybody leaning in, and it was exciting to see how many partners were leaning in today.
It was truly exciting.
Okay, sir.
I can ask. I mean, might be questions you already asked. But, so, what kicked off this event? What caused y'all to decide, let's go ahead and convene?
As county judge, I identified from the fact that we were looking at a possible shutdown before we did do the shutdown. I also knew well in advance that we were having cuts in regards to the federal bill that was passed, the budget bill, that we were going to have cuts to SNAP, which is also food stamps. We were going to have cuts to affordable care subsidies, which will limit access to health care. We know that housing insecurity is a big issue. There are people being evicted for, as you call it, episodic issues, car repair, loss of job, death in a family. Those things affect people on a real-time basis. And so we need to be prepared as Bexar County. How do we help provide the support? The Bexar County does not have an unlimited budget. We have to live within our means, and we have to balance our budget every year. But we do need to dedicate resources to those people that are most in need, and we need to do it in a public-private partnership, especially with a nonprofit such as the food bank.
I'll ask this question. I was asked, this golden goose question. How important is the partnerships in order to accomplish your goals?
It's the only way things get resolved. Bexar County cannot do it by itself. Food bank can't do it by itself. We partner up, and we leverage our limited funds and resources.
So I'll get you got anything you want to add?
No, just that, look, the San Antonio Food Bank has a demonstrated track record of efficiencies, right? We want to leverage and create ROI, and I think that conversation around the table today of what is the ROI that some of the federal programs bring to the community? When you think about SNAP, SNAP's been top of mind for our community because of the government shutdown and families losing access. It's about 300,000 residents of Bexar County that participate in the SNAP program. But they get food on their table because of the program, but farmers, growers, food manufacturers, grocery retailers, all are supported because of SNAP. Small businesses that oftentimes pay a lower wage have an employee that has energy to show up to work because the wage was inadequate, therefore it created an environment where they were eligible for SNAP, but because of SNAP, the household got food. And so the trickle down and up effect of these federal programs, I think that conversation about how do we help elected officials at the national level understand how it impacts us at the local level on a very basic need of food. And so, I think I was energized by the number of folks wanting to lean in, to work in a more efficient and more effective way. Many of the organizations at the table have application processes, regulations required, and so it's like, how can we make it easier, more streamlined, more categorical eligibility? Hey, if you are, eligible for this program, then you're automatically eligible for this program, so that we can stabilize households, create that upward mobility. I said it earlier, hunger isn't a food issue, it's really an income issue. We've got to get incomes up. It's got to be an environment where expenses aren't climbing as fast as they have, because expenses are outpacing income, and there's those gaps that create food insecurity. So the judge, sent a message, I think, about how do we make our community secure? How do we think strategically, act collectively, and then move people out of hardship into environments where they can thrive?
And we had the workforce development people in the room to move people into higher paying jobs. And that's the key, is as people are at the bottom of the economic level, so to speak, that we show them that there is a path with either continuing education or workforce programs, such as advanced manufacturing training jobs that are coming to Bexar County with the industries that are coming down on the south side. So we do have an exciting time, but we're going to have to bring it all together. And that's what this summit was all about today.
Yeah, we know we're going to continue to feed the line, and no matter how long that line is or why people are in that line. But today's conversation was about, how do we shorten that line? What are the things we need to be doing to get people people out, and so I think, you know, a lot of work needs to be done, and there's a lot of stakeholders wanting to do that work, and I think our community's gonna be better because of it.
Anything else, guys?
All right, thank you.
Yeah, cool, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Keep in mind for those that came late, this was the first of 4 meetings. Yeah. And there were 50 stakeholders.
Sorry for the.
Appreciate you all coming. Thanks for your patience. Of course. Thank you.
It's fun just chilling, you know?
I'll let you know when we set the dates and locations for the next one. This again is very preliminary. Got everybody in the same room.
Right.
Get it toward whatever it's gonna be. Reason political time? Passing my bag.
Jennifer, I'll see you this afternoon.
All right.
Are you at the food bank at least? Yeah. Nice.
So 11:30? Yeah, that was rough. Well, I was walking up here at 11:20 and I'm like, holy cow, what? Yeah, I think there was a few more in
Yeah,
the
I'm
parking
in the
lot
back
looking
of
too.
the
So
food
I'm not-
bank.
I work for the county, so it caught me off guard too.
Oh, this Maze one. Family Culinary Center.
You work for the county? Yeah. I'm Aaron, by the way. Aaron, I'm James. Nice to meet you. Yeah, I came here earlier because there was no mention of video of the actual event, and so I swung by to see if I could get video of them talking. I was told no, so I said, well, screw it, I'll just